We're living in the era of the demise of toxic masculinity and toxic femininity and the rise of divine union. The war between men and women, it was never meant to last forever. We're living in the era of collapse. From boardrooms to bedrooms, we're witnessing the public collapse of toxic masculine and toxic feminine archetypes. The end of domination, blame, manipulation and deceit. And the rise of divine masculine and divine feminine energy begins with personal accountability. Whether it's exes, colleagues, family members or public figures, healing starts when we stop fighting each other and start owning our part in the story, our part in the rift. So let's not sugarcoat it. We are watching the end of toxic systems in real time, from bedrooms to boardrooms. The manipulative power plays that once thrived on domination and deceit, they're crumbling. The headlines have already shown us the extremes. Weinstein, Epstein, Andrew Mountbatten Windsor, and countless others. Even male doctors who've preyed on vulnerable women, crossing professional lines, even having sex with patients. Then, when publicly accused, enrolling their communities to do MK Ultra mind control and dark magic to manipulate public opinion and even the outcomes of court cases. They even siphoned the energy from their victims to do the domination and mind control tactics on those same victims. You can't make this up. All to protect their money, their money tree, all to protect their public image and to cover up their backstory of lies. And as well, you already know, there's been countless others, men who built empires of exploitation and control, not just men, and then cried victim when the truth came out. And they've often had a toxic puppet master female behind the scenes akin to Ghislaine Maxwell, procuring victims and dictating the public assassination of anyone who dares to threaten her position, her money, or free pass lifestyle. It's not unheard of that the wives, family and friends of their accused men have organised for ex-members of renowned international cults who are versed in death magic to end the lives of any potential whistleblowers and even bring destruction to the whistleblowers' loved ones to try and shut them up and shut them down. But this isn't just about them. Everyday people like yourselves and the people you know experience the same energetic warfare in relationships, in families, in workplace environments, and even in so-called friendships. Everyone, including you and I, knows a narcissist or two. The dynamics they're identical. Control disguised as care and manipulation. Domination masked as mentorship. Betrayal cloaked as charm. Even blatant forbidden magic and raising demons from the dead disguised as good Catholics. What's that about? The demise of the toxic masculine is not just the fall of men who have abused power. It's the fall of power without conscience. And the demise of the toxic feminine is not just the silencing of women. It's the death of manipulation disguised as vulnerability. The pick me, false damsel in distress. And here's the hard truth. The masculine cannot heal without taking responsibility for the harm that they've caused. The masculine cannot heal without taking responsibility for the trail of destruction behind them. And the feminine cannot rise without letting go of the need for revenge and finger pointing and blame. It's the same principle with land rights and countries at war. And that doesn't mean taking blame for others. It doesn't mean taking blame for other people's cruelty. It means accepting that every energetic contract has two signatures. So if you've been controlled, manipulated, or betrayed, it's time to ask, what part of me tolerated this? What lesson did I come here to learn? What boundary did I ignore because I wanted to be loved, chosen, seen, or whatever else? Because when you answer honestly, the manipulation loses its grip on you. The divine masculine accepts responsibility without defensiveness. The divine feminine reclaims her power without vengeance. And those who do this on both sides earn spiritual absolution. And those who refuse, they remain stuck in their karmic loop. And you don't need a royal title to experience energetic abuse. The ex who gaslights you and convinces everyone that you are the problem. The colleague who steals your ideas and takes credit for your work. The friend who helps but engineers to keep you small so that you don't rise above them. The arch nemesis who targets your health, your wealth, your beauty, your power, your relationships and your spiritual connection to try and bring total destruction to every aspect of your life. Or the family member who manipulates through guilt, money, or silence. These are all versions of the same story. Power without responsibility. And healing doesn't come from exposing or punish them. Although, if it's your soul contract to be the whistleblower, then you can't stop. You have to keep going. If it's your soul contract to speak up, to whistleblow, to speak the truth, no matter how many people gang stalk you or come against you, then you must speak up with integrity and authenticity. Even if whole groups are trying to shut you up and shut you down. And speak up without elaboration, without embellishment, without blame or revenge. Because healing comes from refusing to mirror their behaviour. You don't heal darkness by becoming dark. You heal darkness by standing so firmly in your light that the dark exposes itself, that the dark gets trapped in their own lies. What is the path of reconciliation for you? How can you rise above this in a way that is productive and sustainable for you going forwards from where you are now? Step one is to see the system. Recognize manipulation when it hides behind charm, intellect, or even pity. Because awareness, it breaks the illusion. And step two is to take radical responsibility. You're not responsible for others. You're not responsible for other people's choices and actions, but you are responsible for your response to those choices and actions. The moment you stop playing victim, you become the creator. And step 3 is to choose love without losing yourself. Love isn't weakness. Love is the strongest stance of all when it's rooted in self-respect. Forgiveness doesn't mean reconciliation. It means releasing yourself from their karmic web. So, how can you move from toxic to divine? How can you move from toxic masculine or toxic feminine to divine masculine or divine feminine? The divine masculine isn't loud, arrogant, or controlling. The divine masculine doesn't target innocent people, and he certainly doesn't attack the females he has a soul contract to protect. The divine masculine is steady. He's protective and he's truthful. The divine masculine protects and promotes the divine feminine within himself and within others. The divine feminine isn't submissive. It isn't subservient, and it's not manipulative. The divine feminine doesn't play two-faced games, doesn't siphon the energy of her so-called friends and orchestrate the demise of females who are more intuitive, more educated, more beautiful, or have a higher spiritual ranking than what they do. The divine feminine is intuitive. She's compassionate and she's discerning. The divine feminine supports her fellow sisters and helps them to rise. And together, they don't compete. Together, the divine masculine and the divine feminine don't compete with each other, or anybody else for that matter. Together, they co-create. When we embody both energies within ourselves, your masculine energy is on your right, your feminine energy is on your left. When we embody both energies within ourselves, when we embody the feminine intuition and the inner masculine logic, balance within you is restored. And this is how the war ends, not by force, but by evolution. So ask yourself, who or what still has emotional control over me? What do I need to do to forgive myself for? What do I need to forgive myself for tolerating? What do I need to forgive myself for protecting or enabling that wasn't aligned with unconditional oneness and the greater good? How can I embody both masculine strength and feminine compassion today? Where am I still waiting for someone else to change before I do? Or instead of me having to? What part of me feels safest in blame? And what would it feel like to let that go? Toxic power, whether masculine or feminine, was always destined to self-destruct. Because what is built in fear, shame, or deception cannot sustain itself. Because what is built on energy that was harvested from innocent people cannot sustain itself. Because what was built on the energy that was forcibly harvested from innocent people who have specifically refused permission cannot sustain itself. We're entering a new era. We're entering a new era where integrity is the currency, where truth is medicine, and where energy no longer lies and it no longer deceives. If you've ever been burned by toxic relationships, betrayed by people in power, or shamed for shining your light, this is your time to rise. It's time for the likes of you and me now. You're not here to win against others. You're here to win yourself back.